Playhavock. I got Frank and Signs. Signs is a noob. We're gonna ask Signs questions. There you go. That's what's going on.
Isn't it usually the other way around? Don't, like, noobs ask the veterans?
You know what? It doesn't matter. Shh. Quiet. This will make sense later. Okay, so, Signs, I introduced you to KOL. First impressions of KOL. There we go.
Well, it's not unlike, I find it's not unlike the old school text adventures with, the added bits of insanity. Overall, much better than I thought it would be, I'd have to say. That's kind of why I didn't play it at all when I thought about it earlier.
Okay, so now you had to get help pretty early on in the game. You said that most things were intuitive, but this wasn't. What was the thing that you had to get help with?
Well, it's not so much that I had to get help. It's more that I don't mind playing the old school adventures where you have to do, you have to try. You end up rubbing everything on everything, as they say. The problem I have with it is in those ones, there's no economics to it. I could try it, and if it doesn't work, all I've done is waste a couple of seconds. In this game, I've wasted, half of my turns for the day. But the thing in question, the first thing, some of it's intuitive, a lot of it isn't actually now I've discovered. But, like, for example, making the epic legendary weapon, it's like, to make the legendary epic weapon, you have to get a disassembled clover from the hobo, and take it to the casino, put it in the slots, and get a big rock. This is somehow used to make your weapon, though we're not going to tell you how or why. Then you need although to be fair, getting the jalapeno from the permit did make sense, but still, overall, there's things like that I never would have figured out ever, and then a lot of other things that I would be able to figure out, but I'd waste a lot of turns doing it. So, and then I just kind of wouldn't have fun. Because I'd...
So, where did you ask for help at? In clan or
Wiki?
Newbie, or did you pass like the thing to get into chat and everything?
Oh yeah, I did. I don't use chat that much. I just use the wiki.
Well, there you go. That has all the answers, but can be kind of like reading a book just to play a game, which didn't seem fun to me at first.
Mostly what I use it for is kind of a time saver. It's like, okay, I need to somehow get into the Goblin King's throne room. Okay, there are a couple of ways I could do that, but I don't really want to waste 30 turns trying to check for a disguise or something in this one room if it's not going to be there. So, is there something in the Goblin Harem's room that'll help me? Check. Okay, so it's actually worth spending like 30 turns there. And that's the kind of thing that's my problem, is you'd have to spend like, 20, 30, 40 turns before you can confirm that what you're trying to do isn't working, and by then you've already wasted like a good portion of your day. All of your day if you don't have the money to buy food and booze.
Do you think that the game needs to give more in-game hints then?
I think it could stand to give more in-game hints as in terms of kind of confirming whether or not somewhere is right. It's not so bad now that I'm getting the money to actually buy decent food and booze, and I can probably afford to waste those turns. But it's still kind of annoying is that I'd adventure somewhere for 20, 30, 40 turns, and then find out that it's not associated with what I'm trying to do. So.
Do you think the game should give you better food and booze as you adventure as well, or do you think that that's kind of an unnecessary length to go for the noob?
Well, what do you mean as I go?
I don't know if that question made sense.
Well, yeah. All I'm saying is that in the beginning, the amount of you have very little more than 40 adventures to begin with. I mean, you got like nothing. And that's about the amount of time it takes to experiment to see if you're in the right place to begin with, when you're given, multiple options of where to be and what to do. And that can really cost you time. So, it's kind of annoying to spend all that time and find out you've been in the wrong place the whole time to begin with. And that's basically what I've been looking up stuff for, is to make sure I'm not wasting a lot of time doing something that's gonna just waste turns.
If there was a channel like if you went to say Newbie, that's the place where you're supposed to be able to get help, but it's really more of a chat channel. I suggested like a slash help that would be specifically to get help in. Do you think that that would work, or do you think that that would be unnecessary?
It might not be a bad idea, but as far as my problems is, the wiki is...
So if he's looking at the wiki, he's got like the answers to everything that possibly.
But you don't have to look. You don't
explain to him, right?
Yeah, and you don't have to look.
Yeah, but I'm saying like an in-game solution. That's what I'm looking at.
Then probably if the newbie channel is just turned into another chat channel, then maybe a specific help channel. The problem is you need to have people hanging out in it who could provide the help. So, not entirely sure how well that would work.
Okay,
are you saying, Play, that you'd like to see like the first ascension basically just have like a walkthrough kind of deal, like helping you and just holding your hand the whole way, saying?
No, I don't think it needs to do that as that much. But I mean, obviously the rock thing isn't very intuitive, and there's certain parts of the game that are just like, what do I do now? And like Science said, you can figure it out, but it would kill your entire day just to do it. So that might, I don't know.
I knew about the wiki from the get-go, but I didn't like to use it. I just liked, because it was pretty. The first few quests were pretty simple, but when you started getting into like the McGaffin.
Oh yeah, well that's new.
Further on down the line past him, like there was no way I could have figured that out without the wiki.
When I started, I don't even think the wiki was up and running. I could be wrong, but all I knew was like a couple web pages that had the different spoilers, and you like had to click a button that would say like spoiler info. Click here, and the wiki isn't like that. It doesn't like hide stuff from you. So everything you want to know and then some is right there. So. There's no
stuff you don't want to know.
Right. So there's no chance of not spoiling yourself.
Well, no,
it's interesting.
You just have to not click.
See for yourself.
You just have to not click on the link.
So it sounds like Science is basically agreeing that some of it could be spelled out, but maybe not a little bit more than it is now.
It's kind of an inherent problem from the adventure system. I don't have a problem with limited turns per day, but in a game where there's a certain amount of experimentation to begin with, the turn system punishes experimentation because you can only experiment so much. It's not like an adventure game. It's not like Sam and Max or Zork where you don't get anything out of it and you say, okay, let's try something else. Eventually, you run out of things to try and you have to wait another day before you can do anything.
Do you think more turns for the noob then? Like 100 turns to start with or something?
What might be...
I don't even fix it, because, I mean, if you just have more turns, you just do more experimenting, and, it's...
Yeah, it's... I don't think more turns would solve it. It's just an inherent problem with the turn limitations as they are, you know what I mean? It's just... There's kind of no way to get around it, I guess. It's just that no matter what, you're going to be able to experiment a limited amount of time, and you'll end up wasting time. I guess what might be fine is, like, maybe for the first 5 days or the first week, get extra turns until they can start feeding themselves halfway decently, or to give extra time to screw around and learn the game. It's just kind of, like I said though, I like, screwing around, getting lost, experimenting, and all that good, and figuring things out all on my own. But the problem is that you spend too much time trying to figure things out, and then you don't have any time to figure things out, and so it'll take me like 2 or 3 days to figure something out because I only had so much turns at the beginning.
So Science, now what have you thought about the in-game jokes and humor?
Oh, it's pretty damn funny. There's really not much more to say about it. It's just pretty damn funny. It's kind of what makes the game, for the most part. Not to mention, I just get great joy in saying, I am a mighty sorcerer! It amuses me.
And the pop culture references, have you picked up on a lot of those, or just kind of some of those have been hit and miss? Or?
I'm surprised at how many of them I'm not getting, which is actually kind of a good thing, because it just means they're like frickin' everywhere. But it's overall pretty good because it also means I get a lot of the obscure ones that I do know about, which is also good. It's kind of like the airplane of games. It was like a joke every minute. If you miss one, don't worry, you'll get the next one.
Yeah.
I could not understand. I didn't understand. I mean, that was the funny thing. It was like, okay, I knew there were jokes, but the ones that I did get without just like, I was like, funny.
There's quite a number that I pick up on that you know, and I'm always like trying to get more of like, hey, there's not enough Pokemon jokes in this game, blah, you know, like people are like, no, not Pokemon, no. So there's some that I follow.
Loves the kingdom of Lothing.
Yeah, you're supposed to loathe it. You're not supposed to love it. So I don't know.
Now there are familiars. They're kind of like Pokemon.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us?
Does the noob have any questions?
No, I don't. I guess I don't really have anything to say that I wouldn't end up looking up on the wiki if I needed it anyway.
All right. Well, there you go. So
there you go.
Thanks for your time, Signs.
The wiki answers all.
Make sure to send all your money meat to the noob Signs 1 2. What is it?
Don't you dare! It's bad enough that I have to look up. Don't you dare! It's bad enough that I have to look up things.
On KOL. Yay!
Nobody send me any money. It's bad enough that I have to look up things. I don't want free money.
Playhavock, Signs and Frank signing out. Goodbye, everybody. Send me my flyers.